Hello everyone, do you want to make $1 million in just 1 week? I want to know how to do that too. I have no idea. Please let me know. If you know, please let me know, please. This video is not about how to make money, but about where the word money came from. We're going to explore the interesting history of money's origin story, its etymology, its meaning. Whoa, I'm having an out of money experience. Ooh. I'm almost willing to bet that you have no idea where the word money came from. You're going to be shocked at what words are related to money. In part 1, we're going to be covering money and other words closely related to money's root word. And then in part 2, we're going to do a rapid-fire attack at many other money-related words that we use in everyday life. Words such as bucks, coin, cash, check, credit, debit, salary, finance, and mortgage. Oh, we're about to go full-blown Scrooge McDuck. I don't know if anyone knows what that means anymore. I'm old. The history of the word money actually takes us back to the ancient Romans and to their goddess Juno. No one really knows how old the origin of the mythical goddess Juno is, but it is believed by some ancient authors that she entered Rome itself in the 5th century BC, probably from the religious cult of her by the Etruscans. The Romans were well known as adopters of the gods of those people around them or the people that they conquered, like a connoisseur or a collector. I'll take one of those. Oh, that's a nice one. I'll take one of those. We have to remember that the Romans built a temple called the Pantheon, which literally means all the gods. Now, whether it actually means all the gods or just the 12 major Roman deities, we don't know. But it at least hints of this idea of collecting gods. In any case, Juno is one of 3 of the oldest original Roman deities, namely Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva. These 3, called the Capitoline Triad, were honored in Rome at the Quirinal Hill, which was one of the 7 hills of Rome. Juno was the wife of Jupiter, and Jupiter was the chief god of the Romans. Juno was the mother of Mars, the god of war. After many wars with Macedonia, the Roman army finally conquered the Greek peninsula. As usual, the Romans began collecting not just loot, the Greek culture, art, literature, philosophy, Greek mythology. All these began to permeate the Roman culture and religion. On a side note, the root of culture is cult, meaning worship or care that is owed the deities, to temples, to sacred people or things. Roman deities began to be suspiciously like their Greek counterparts, and Juno pretty much became the Greek goddess Hera. Not exactly like Hera, but close enough. The Roman myths were cooked, as it were, in Greece. Oh, and by the way, the month of June is actually named after the goddess Juno. For the Romans, Juno held many roles over time, many titles, and had particular powers over them. One title of Juno is Juno Sospita. Under this title, she was the special protector of a little town close to Rome called Lanuvium. Another title of Juno was Juno Lucina, Lucina meaning light. She was the goddess of childbirth. What is interesting is that no offering was allowed in her temple if you had a belt on or had anything with knots in it. Every knot had to be untied, because symbolically, having a belt or a knot could impede the delivery of a child and was thus banished. Incidentally, Juno was like the female guardian angel. In a sense, every woman had her own Juno protecting her, whereas every man had his genius, plural, genie. These were like attendant spirits present from one's birth, very similar to the Christian idea of guardian angels. This original sense of genius eventually came to mean the person's innate ability, which eventually became the person's natural genius. Genius is related to the word generate, to give birth. The guardian genius gave birth to that person's talent, and naturally it transformed to mean the natural talent itself. Welcome everyone to my YouTube channel. My name is Sean. Everyone has heard of the phrase "a word to the wise." Well, this channel is called Wise to the Words, where in every video I'll take an interesting word, phrase, idiom in the English language and delve deep into its etymology, its history, its meaning, and other tidbits and tangents along the way. so you can be wise to the words. These videos are meant to be informative, entertaining, lighthearted, and downright goofy sometimes. If this sort of video once or twice a week interests you, then please subscribe and come back for future videos. And please, take all the money out of your wallet and purse and hire someone to hit the like button for you. Or you can save some money and hit the like button yourself. The like button needs some love. Now back to Juno's titles. And finally, Juno was known as the moon goddess under the title of, wait for it, Juno Moneta. Moneta. Under this title, she was the unique protector of the city of Rome. Her role was one of making people remember, especially danger for the Roman Empire as a whole. Juno Moneta, the Warner. Why? Why the Warner? It's in that very name. Moneta comes from the Latin monere, which means to warn, to admonish. Now, according to legend, reported by the ancient author Plutarch, this epitaph of hers was solidified when a flock of her sacred geese, which were housed at a shrine on the Capitoline Hill, began to honk chaotically when the army of the Gauls tried to perform a sneak invasion of Rome in 390 BC. The Roman military at the time was led by Manlius Capitolinus, one of the greatest soldiers in the history of Rome. He was alerted by Juno's sacred geese and successfully defended the city of Rome. A great temple was built on the Capitoline Hill in 344 BC in honor of Juno and her warning of the imminent invasion. Capitoline, by the way, is where we get the word capital, meaning the capital of a country. Now, this great temple was built near the Roman Mint, where the Roman coinage was manufactured, money out of metal. Although it wasn't called the mint, that word came from the nearby temple dedicated to Juno Moneta. Moneta morphed into mint. Ooh, I like mint. Mint, mint. Would you like a mint? As well as, drum roll please, you may have guessed it, our word money. Juno became the personification of money, the guardian of financial affairs, and money was named after her surname. Our English word money came into our language by two different roots. In the form of mint, it came from the primitive West Germanic munita, then traveled to Old English as minute, and this word, from the 8th century at least, means coin.
Take this quarter, go downtown, and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face. Good day.
In Middle English, mint was used as referring to the place where currency, or legal tender, was coined. The person in charge of this mint was called the master of the mint.
I am the master of the mint.
This office existed from 1331 to 1870, where it was absorbed by the office of the Chancellor of the Exchequer, a word related to our financial word check. It's interesting to note that the official logo for the Bank of England is the goddess Juno. So there you have it. Money was named after a Roman goddess, Juno Moneta. Moneta means warning, and so in English we have many other words related to this moneta, or rather to the Latin monere. Their connection to money can only be surmised, but it is interesting that the word money and warning are connected. Maybe, deep down, it has something to do with that famous line of the New Testament, a line which is often misquoted, by the way, that money is the root of all evil. The real line from St. Paul's epistle to Timothy says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." Close, but they do not mean quite the same thing. There are other English words that we use in everyday life that are related to money's root verb, monere, to warn. We have admonish. Admonish joins the prefix ad, which means to, so admonish means to remind, to bring to mind a warning. There is the English word summon, from the Latin summonere, which is an assimilated form of sub and monere. Sub means under, so literally summon meant to remind or advise or warn privately. Generally, we use the word summon to mean today, call, send for, ask the presence of. When someone summons another person, it's usually for something negative, something dire. An employee is summoned by the boss to be fired, or a student is summoned to the principal's office, or a demon is summoned for its diabolical purposes. So summon has this warning connotation to it. There is monitor, which in Latin means one who reminds, admonishes, or checks, or warns. Eventually, this became closer to mean anyone or thing that watches, keeps track or check, like a hall monitor. There is monument, which is not necessarily meant to warn, but to remind. Not always about good things, sometimes bad things. There is the word monstrance, which is a sacred vessel for displaying a consecrated host. There's the word premonition, to have a strong feeling that something unpleasant is going to happen. It's a warning that something wrong coming. It's a pre-warning. Remonstrate, originally meant to show clearly. Now it means to present strong feelings against something. But now let's get to my favorite word that is connected to money's root word, monere. When you warn someone in the original sense, you're warning them of a misfortune, warning about an evil omen. And in Latin, those evil omens became monstrum, which goes into the English as monster. A monster in the original sense was a word for divine omen or warning. This word monster was then applied to any misshapen prodigy or horrifying creature or repulsive character or object of dread and abomination. A monster is something that you warn people about. You scream in terror. You warn others. You yell. So now you know where the word money comes from. I think it's extremely interesting that money is related to warning and to monster. And there you have it, the etymology and the origin of the word money. In the next episode, which is kind of like a part 2, we're going to be covering a bunch of other money-related words and to explore their origins. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I know time is money. If you enjoy these type of videos, please like and subscribe. Now you're wise to the words. Would you like a mint?